Who conditioned you? This is not something I expect you to answer in the comment section. This is something I want you to ask yourself. Who conditioned you? Your first name was an agreement between your parents and the community. And this has been associated with you, and that's why you adapted to it. So even your first name is just an agreement that you received from your environment. Alright? The language you speak is a collective code that people agreed upon to use to interact with one another. And you had no other choice, so you adapted that. That's how you got your native tongue or your native dialect. And also how people were treating you also contributed to how you developed and how you interact with other people. Others are more open because they come from a more secure environment where they could permit to be open. Others are more reserved because their environment was unpredictable. So when you look at it, you are a product of your past and your environment. Not to say that it's fatal, you can't do anything about it. You have your own contribution to it. Yes, you do. However, you need to acknowledge that you have been conditioned, like all of us were. It does not mean that the people around you that conditioned you had bad intentions. Often they didn't know any better, so they couldn't do any better. Okay? Understand that also. Still, you need to ask yourself, who conditioned you? There are people that come from secure, loving environments, but later in life things go wrong because they got around the wrong route. So not everything goes back to childhood. Some things came later. So whether it's from childhood or later on, ask yourself, who conditioned me? Or with who, I don't necessarily mean the people that were active, because those people were obviously active. They obviously had their role in it. But who is behind those people? Oh, I'm going deep with this. If you grew up in an environment where people did not follow God, they didn't even knew about the gospel, and people were in shamanism, and violence was common in that community. Now, if you grew up there, then you have been conditioned to accept violence. You have been conditioned to blame the victim. And let's say that one day you're 30 and you meet this believer who has been born again, filled with the Holy Spirit. And while interacting with this believer, your eyes are coming open to you. And because the believer treated you so well, and because the believer said things to you that were true, now after interacting with this believer, it has an impact upon you. Now you're looking back, you're realizing, man, how these people are treating one another is very bad. Now you begin to realize stuff. But if that believer did not appear, you would not notice it. Why? Because you've been conditioned. The way you perceived reality and others came from a mental framework that developed by the community you grew up in, or by the people you associate with later on. This is not to blame others, even though if you grew up in a hostile environment and people didn't want to deal with hostility, they are to blame for the effect they had upon you, absolutely. This blame is not an excuse for you to remain in the conditioning. Is to motivate you to acknowledge that it's not your fault, so you can and you have the right to seek and find help. Okay? Still, always ask who conditioned me. And with who, I mean who is behind them. If they were not following the Most High, then you know that they were open to evil spirits. If they follow the Most High, then the Holy Spirit is behind the conditioning. Now understand this. Everyone grew up in the world, so we all received some conditioning of the world that's not in agreement with Christ. If you had parents or you had people around you that loved the Lord, that loved the Most High, and they followed Him, then they had an impact upon you. Alright, and that impact had a benefit upon you also. Still, you need to be delivered from the condition of the world, because you all had been conditioned by the world. First of all, we were born in a fallen state. That's why we needed a Savior in the first place. So that fallen mind of ours cannot process things the right ways. So you should be delivered anyway, because you were born in a fallen state. And beside the fallen state, you have a lot of bad thinking patterns that are an extension of that fallen state that the world is operating in. Some believers still have bad thinking patterns. And as I mentioned before, if a way of thinking is not in agreement with Christ, it means it's in agreement with the enemy. So if people operate in a certain way of thinking and they've conditioned you to operate in it, but that way of thinking is not in agreement with Christ, then you know that it's the enemy. It's Satan that has conditioned you through those people. That's why it's important to unlearn things that don't agree with Christ. And I read the comment section once in a while. I don't have time to do it every day. Understand it also. And there are people commenting. Sometimes they reveal things about some personal stuff they're going through. I have no problem with that. By the way, they're anonymous anyway, so I don't mind. But when I look at those comment sections, sometimes I'm thinking, oh dear. You know, this is what I mean. It's not only about the people that make comments, so don't feel personally addressed by this, what I'm saying now. But a lot of people, they have no idea how wrong their thinking is, especially when it comes to relationships, especially to intimate relationships. I had lately someone contacted me on Facebook. Well, I use Facebook once in a while. I used to be a big user of it years ago, now not that much anymore. There was this individual that contacted me, and she was talking about a guy she met, she had a relationship with, they were not married, and the guy was a criminal. He was into the negative, he had no intention of repenting. The guy ended up in jail after he assaulted someone. And now the woman said she prayed about it, she left in God's hand, but she still came to ask me what to do. So I just asked her, it was in text, she explained. I asked her, if you left in God's hand, then why are you asking me about it? What do you expect? A day later she answered, you're right. Thank you very much. I mean, when I read that story, I was thinking, what? The fact you're attracted to an individual that's so disturbed and will even explain that there's no intention of leaving the negative, and now you still want you have still along with the individual, it means that you need help. Forget about that guy that's now in jail. Forget that he needs help and all of that. You need to be delivered from this urge to be validated by a strong man. A lot of women have this. They want a man to handle them. They're looking for some kind of masculinity that God did not ordain. So they've been conditioned. Now, who conditioned them? Well, demons did. Through other people. Now, those other people may not have been aware that demons were behind their way of thinking, but nevertheless, demons were behind it. So demons conditioned them through those people. And they just accepted it. I mean, let me give an example. If anyone would come to me and say to me, Rashid, women that have handicapped feet, who have, women who have feet that have been broken since birth, they are the right type of women. Women with normal feet that have grown since birth, man, you shouldn't look at theirs. They're not trustworthy. They're going to cheat on you. If anyone would come to me and say that, I would say, dude, you need help. I will not accept it. I would tell them a woman needs to have both feet working well. A woman whose feet have been broken since birth and they haven't grown well, she is disabled. She's handicapped. She's going to have trouble walking. And how is she going to look after children? How are you going to walk with her and present yourself with her in public? Come on, man. Who told you this crap that a woman with disabled, handicapped feet is attractive because they will remain loyal to you? What? Well, this is what a lot of Manchurian people in the 16th and 17th century believed. And the Manchurian tribe, they took over the Chinese Han Empire and they established the Qin dynasty. I don't know if I pronounce it, the Qin or Qin dynasty. So the Manchu dynasty ruled China until the Chinese Empire was dissolved under the pressure of France, Japan, and other Western powers. Now, I'm not intending to give you a history lesson here, but I'm just pointing out to you this belief that was in China. And the Manchus enforced it also, that women with broken feet are the right type of woman. It was endorsed by the elites, and a lot of people in the lower classes, to get validation that they are part of society, they agreed with it. So when baby girls were born, they would break the feet of those babies, and this will cause the women to grow with, well, disabled feet. And if a young woman did not have disabled feet as an adult, a lot of men who just wouldn't even want to marry her, because they considered, well, she's a whore, she's a risk to you. And a lot of millions of women endured a lot of pain during their lifetimes due to this practice. And also a lot of women accepted it as a form of social validation. Now, that does not happen in China anymore. But look at that. Those people have been conditioned and they didn't ask any questions about it. Well, today there are a lot of things that people just take for granted. And if you just look at the bigger picture of what they're taking for granted, you will think, man, this is very messed up. Look, just ask yourself, who conditioned me? Not to enrage against other people, but just for your own benefit. Who conditioned me? Ask yourself that. A lot of people don't even want to admit they've been conditioned. So when they act violently, or when they become annoyed at some people, when they don't like certain people, they don't want to take the responsibility that things are working out through them. No, they just want to be left alone and relieved. And they become violent when people ask them many questions. That's how a lot of people are. Well, that you've been conditioned, you couldn't help that. But that you hold on to conditioning and you never want to evaluate it, well, that's something else, because now you are the perpetrator of that conditioning. You become a stakeholder of it. Well, I'm going to close the recording now. I did not intend to give a history lesson of the Chinese Empire, but I need to do it just to point out to you that worldly people, to get validation, they accept a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to intimate relationships. And in that time in China, it were a lot of men that had a wrong expectation towards women. Now, it's kind of the other way around. In the media, ideas of men are being portrayed over and over again, that if you just evaluate what the media is portraying and what the movies are showing to you, you would say this is insane. But a lot of men accept it. Why? Because they want to have sexual access to women, and a lot of the women are conditioned this way. So the men don't want to offend the women because, well, they don't want to be ostracized. Well, that would mean less likely to get laid. So they give in to the conditioning just to get access. Now, is this now the fault of the men that is the conditionings out there? No, they've been conditioned also, but they do tolerate it. And here's the thing: I noticed this sick attitude of having to blame men. It is as if, even if a woman is completely out of her mind because she's a reprobate, some man has to be blamed for it. A lot of men agree with this. A lot of men also, I encountered men that endorse man bashing and mistreating of other men, even though the man was not at fault. And I'm thinking, what the heck is this? Again, worldly people, to get validation, they accept a lot of stuff they normally shouldn't accept. Well, that being said, remain in Christ, be at peace.